Oh, just a second.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the FPL Banger Show. My name is Siva. I'm joined by Sam. Game week 27 in 24 hours, Sam. We do not stop, and neither does FPL.
Yep, really got me off guard. I did not realize that is a midweek deadline this week. So thank you, Siva, for reminding me.
Yes, the least informed content creator around here, Sam.
Yeah, that's why I
I
have
will.
you, Siva. That's why I have you.
But despite being such a ill-informed content creator, Sam, what a game week rank for you? 23K game week rank, Sam. I'm very impressed. Took the brave decision to captain Brian and Bomo instead of Salah for a grand gain of no points.
But a lot of bragging rights, which is what I live for, Siva.
Yeah, for a full 2 days, I was looking at a captaincy choice and thinking, if only I had the balls. And then 20 minutes after Man City v Liverpool, I was thinking, I don't need those balls, do I?
I kid you not, I had my captain on Isak the entire week because you said that you were gonna captain Mbemo, and I didn't want to captain the same person you captain. But the moment you announced that you decided to captain Salah instead, I I straight away shifted it to Mbemo.
I don't like this having this extra dimension to my moves where I have to think about what I'm doing because you're gonna do something different. But Sam, for all that you did different, right? Not only did you captain someone else, you and I mean, for people who are listening on the podcast, right? I'm not gonna read out the entire team. You can go check out the video. Sam and I only have about 5 of the same players, and yet in such a weird week, we have exactly the same score, 110 minus 4, so 106 in the end. That's It's crazy, right? Exactly the same game week rank, not the same overall rank, Sam, but you'll get there eventually. Top 100k is respectable, but I think this is my yard now, right? Top 20k.
I'm catching up, Siva. I mean, didn't gain any ground this week, but I've been slowly inching my way closer to you.
Maybe this. Well, it's good that there are multiple game weeks this week, so you've got a lot of opportunities to catch me, Sam. But let's before we move on to the rest of the week, let's just take a second to congratulate ourselves, okay? Because a lot of people said you should roll a transfer last week, prepare for game week 29, don't take hits to swap your managers, get someone safe like Arteta. And all those people were wrong, and we were right because we said go get Oliver Glasner, you get 20 points, and lo and behold, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. I recall saying Wolves would be my second choice, which would not have gotten you 20 points, but I think you have gotten how many points would it be?
19.
19, which is
19. Very, very
close
decent.
enough. Close enough.
Helped by a red card, I must say.
Yeah, to the detriment of my Bournemouth assets.
All our Bournemouth assets, but it is what it is. Really happy with the end of the assistant managership. Both of us have I mean, you obviously maximized it, Sam. You went Moyes to Emery to Glasner, so you got halls every week, table bonus every week. Fair play to you. A bit more boring with Arne Slot to begin with. Reflections. I mean, we're not that kind of podcast where we spend too much time complaining about game mechanics and rules, but on reflection, what do you think about the assistant managership now that we're done with it?
I think we are. I personally feel very vindicated because at the start of the AM chip, I clearly said, the way to play this chip is to take the risk for the table bonus because the risk the reward outweighs the risk. And perhaps there is a bit of luck in there as well, but I mean, 2 fixtures for Moyes, 2 fixtures for Emery. It went pretty much like how I kind of expected it. Glasner was just a great bonus. Can't complain. I think there's no use complaining over the chip, right? It's not. They're not gonna remove it no matter how much you complain. So it's just figure out how best to maximize it. And yeah, I'm quite happy with it. I'm okay to have this chip moving forward in future seasons.
Yeah, I'm curious. I hope even if this chip doesn't stay, they keep trying new things because it's just nice to have an added element to the game. I will say this, with the full respect to everyone who tried it, uh, I did say a few weeks ago, Ruud van Nistelrooy was an interesting option. Now I said that a few weeks ago, okay, and by the time we got to last week, I was already telling everyone this is a bad idea, and people still went there for a team with 1 win and 9 losses in their last 10 games. So I mean, if you do that and then you feel bad about how the chip played out, I'm sorry. Like I can't. Like you were expecting Leicester to win for the first time in 11 games, or the second time in 11 games. It's just, I mean, I think we took calculated gambles, and yes, there's luck, but everything in FPL is luck, right? Uh, People who don't own Johan Wissa are very lucky that he didn't get his assists, which he was due. People who don't own Lewis Hall, very lucky, should have had 3 assists instead of 2, but that's the world we live in. People who own Salah are lucky every week. I mean, some deflected goal, and I mean, what else? FPL's all about luck. Just that this chip maybe maximizes the luck a little more.
Well, yeah. I guess you can say that there's always luck when it comes to FPL. You cannot avoid it. It's just, trying to find ways to maximize your luck. So
Yeah.
happy with how it went.
So with that in mind, okay, we're in good nick, Sam. Let's talk fixtures for a little bit. Okay, so we've got here fixture difficulty from Smog MD. Follow him on Reddit. I'm very interested, Sam, because it feels like we're at a tipping point with the promoted teams. They're all going down. I mean, they've all come back up, and just like last season, they're all going straight back down. Southampton, Leicester, Ipswich all conceded 4 goals this past week. So feels to me like if you're going to make a transfer this week, you target one of those teams, right?
Yes. However, you have to consider who are playing those teams, right? So you have Chelsea playing Southampton, which Chelsea have not been playing very well this past few weeks. That may
You
be an
don't say.
understatement. And then you have Manchester United playing Ipswich, who also have not been playing very well this past weeks. Don't really want any United assets. Which leads us to our last one, Siva, which is where I predict is where you want to go heading into this conversation. West Ham, who plays Leicester at home.
Mm-hmm.
Are you
Well,
going to use the opportunity to try and get us all on Jared Bowen?
well, before I do, right, we did sort of actually ask for some questions, and we do have a question here from AP. Bruno Fernandes versus Jared Bowen over the next 3 game weeks. He's not planning to free hit in 29. Now, we've spoken about game week 29 before, and basically, your transfers this week will largely depend on whether you want to free hit in 29 or not. Um, I've pretty much made my mind up. I don't want a free hit in 29. So whoever I buy needs to play that week. Now, luckily, both Bruno and Bowen have games that week. Um, Now, Sam, my guess is that you are going to tell me that Bruno Fernandes is still a very bad pick, right?
He is a bad pick. Yes.
Very succinct. Would you like to add?
United are a bad team. Any player from United would be a bad pick. That's my take on it. Yes, can he pop
Sounds
up for a goal here and there? Yes, he can, like he did this week. But still, United just so how many weeks for every goal he scores, he will have 2 or 3 barren weeks where United just can't do anything. Partly not his fault because we barely have any players right now. We Ahmad injured. Yeah, It's just not looking good for United as a whole. I would not go near any Manchester United players, despite whatever fixtures they have. I mean, if I were to choose one of those three teams that we talked about, right? The recently promoted teams. I have to choose one who may cause an upset. It would be Ipswich. If you were playing your AM chip, I would say no. I wouldn't say get it on Ipswich because you don't get any table bonus because that's too close. Actually, I don't know. Is that the fact? I don't know where United is. I stopped looking at the table because it just
Yeah.
makes me
No, you're right.
depressed.
There's no table bonus for Ipswich.
Yeah, so it's not even worth an upset there. But yeah, if I had to choose one, I would say Ipswich are the closest to causing an upset this week, and maybe sneaking some points. So no United for me. I know it looks good because they play Ipswich, Arsenal in between, but then 29 they play Leicester. So you expect some points over these next three fixtures. I'm not convinced though. Not going near any Manchester United players.
I was listening to you speak, and you start off by saying, United, bad team, can always lose a game. And I was just thinking, sounds like one of Ruben Amorim's press conferences, listening to you. I mean,
Yeah.
he came out that day against Everton. I feel like the interviewers are trying to give him like a chance to say something good about this team. Happy with the fight back. You're all sort of, and he's like, no, the first half was awful. Have you seen how bad the first half was? Like, you know, I mean, have you been to one of those like relationships where she just keeps telling you each week, this sucks, this is going nowhere, and after a while you start to believe that too. You stop arguing and you say, yeah, you know what, you're right, this does suck, this is going nowhere. And I have to feel like that's how United players feel like right now. You've got, on the one hand, new owner who's destroying the canteen, cutting free lunches, you know I
Yeah.
and, and then on the other hand, you got this manager who keeps coming out every single week. And at first, I used to think, oh, it's really cool. He's honest. He's open. He's trying to tell us. Now I just feel like he's just like, this is just too depressing. Like every week he comes out and says, this team sucks. They're going nowhere. We're awful. The pain must continue. And I feel like that's just got to, I mean, surely at some point the squad's got to look at him and think, yeah, actually, you know what? You're right. We do suck. And there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah. I think just United as a whole. I mean, we are not a United podcast. I won't go so deep into
I
it.
love how you say that every week.
Because you keep bringing it up, Siva. I don't want to talk about Manchester United. But yeah, every player who leaves the club tends to do better. I think that's the biggest indicator that it's more than the players, the club itself. Rashford is doing pretty well in his limited appearances with Villa. You got Anthony, who yes, he got a red card this last weekend, but also got an assist. So that's 4 games in a row where he's had a goal contribution. Yeah, McTominay is doing well. Everyone who leaves do well. So yeah.
Okay. So I guess by process of elimination, and also bearing in mind that Bruno's return this week was from a very good free kick, but a free kick nonetheless. And his position in the team, right, still quite deep, still sort of drops back a lot. I mean, it's flexible, changes from game to game because this coach is still searching for a way to make three at the back work. But I think with all that in mind, by process of elimination, I guess that takes us to Jared Bowen, right? Because that just feels like settled team. You know that he's going to play every week. He plays 90. Um, Definitely a bit of a morale boost. We did say, right, why we didn't go for Arteta last week. And you asked me about Arsenal players. And I said, I don't know, man. Like, the Leicester game wasn't great. And sure enough, we were so poor against West Ham. Didn't offer anything. And the Marino experiment doesn't work once he's up against three proper centre backs. When he's not playing Wout Face, he doesn't look that good as a striker, which is not a surprise.
Yeah.
But also Jared Bowen. I mean, that was a really good goal, right? Because for those of you who haven't seen it, you should check it out. It's very basic, the classic kind of English kind of goal. Sean Dyche would have been proud. Passes to Wan-Bissaka, just keeps running. Wan-Bissaka all the way down the line. Once again, United players away from United. Wan-Bissaka looked like Cafu. Puts in the cross, and Bowen beats Declan Rice to get the goal. And Leicester, we already said it, 1 win in and 10 losses in the last 11. What's not to like here?
Yeah, they actually look the worst out of all the teams right now, which is not an easy feat because of how bad Southampton have been. But Leicester genuinely looks the worst right now. I would target Leicester. Yeah, it looks good. I mean, if you're looking for a midfielder, a lot of you might want to swap Gordon out, maybe because of the blank. I think Bowen looks good, and you know, despite this being a bad season for West Ham, he's been doing pretty decently actually. 7 goals, 6 assists. Returns have been kind of spread out, a few blanks here and there, and then he has a period where he got injured. But I think for the amount of minutes he's played, that's actually a decent return, like quietly doing the business. And West Ham has pretty good fixtures. To close, you could probably keep him in your squad maybe until the end of the season. The only tough games they have to play is Newcastle home, Liverpool away in 32, and then the Spurs and United. I don't know if those are considered tough games anymore. Other than that,
I mean, you
it's
say,
good.
yeah, and I'm not sure Newcastle home is that bad a fixture. I mean, look at Forest, right?
Yeah,
For all
it's true.
Newcastle's dominance, still conceded 3. And I think on another day, they probably could draw that game. So I think I'd be very happy to have Bowen. I think, and I guess just sort of for completeness, we didn't get a question about this, but I do see some hype on Twitter for him. Pedro Neto, comparing the last of these teams, because I'm going to assume we'll push Cole Palmer to a different price bracket. Pedro Neto, I see picking up some steam here. And I think the only reason for that is because people really want a Chelsea player who isn't Cole Palmer. I think Nkunku is sort of favored by some people, but once you start watching a game, you realize Nkunku and Chelsea just
Not,
don't match.
not even favored by his own teammates.
Yeah, Palmer and him got into an argument. I mean, it's sad to see because Nkunku, obviously, for those of us who watch like Bundesliga and stuff, came here with a big rep, but it doesn't seem to be working. Pedro Neto, are you on paper, right?
How can you nail down a place?
But it is crazy though, right? You have a team that's chasing top 4, plays Southampton and Leicester in the next 2 at home, and we aren't even going to go there.
I mean, it's literally the only reason why I've kept Cole Palmer in my team. Every week, despite the blanks, despite how expensive he is, despite how bad Chelsea is playing, I just look at those 2 fixtures coming out. Like, it's the only reason why I kept him.
Yeah, same here. But not looking to add to that, I take it.
No, there's no one. Realistically, look at how Chelsea has been playing. There is no proper viable option that you can get.
I feel like there may be, it's just that we don't know who it is. It could be Enzo, it could be Neto, it could be somebody else, it could be Nkunku at some point, but we just don't know. And yeah, I mean, since I already have Cole Palmer, I know we all have him, so we're not gaining anything from having Palmer. But
Unless you
yeah,
captain him.
I think that's.
Uh,
Oh well, let's not spoil that yet, but we will come to it. Okay, so we got forwards. Best Watkins replacement from Robin Doda. Mateta, Marmoush, Cunha, or Wood. So that's a lot of options. Ignore game week 29. I mean, what's the forward you want to get now?
It's not Marmoush, I'll tell you that. The forward I want to get is, and probably will get this week, is Matthias Cunha, who I'm a big fan. Long-time listeners of the pod will know that I've been singing his praises for a while since last season.
Mm-hmm.
Cunha is my answer. I mean, but that's because we already have Wood. If you don't have Wood, fixtures look bad. I give you that. However, it is Chris Wood. How long are you
As
gonna
we say
suffer
every
without
week.
him? So
If you're free hitting in 29, I suppose Chris Wood is not the most urgent buy, right? Because the appeal of Chris Wood is he plays Ipswich in 29. But if you're gonna free hit anyway, then he's not as urgent to buy.
Cunha plays Southampton in 29.
Yeah, so but again, if you're ignoring 29, if you're looking to keep, let's say if you're somebody who's free hitting 29, which is not us, so it's hard to imagine, but ignoring 29, right? The fixtures in 27, 28, and 30, let's say those are the determining factors. Yeah, I'm not keen on Marmoush because just City look still like they're still figuring it out. Although I will say Marmoush looked decent against Liverpool. It's just that it's hard to judge anybody against Liverpool. He did have the offside goal and he looked lively, given that the rest of the team looked like they were bored and old and tired. Um, it's not a, it's not a bad option, right? City's fixtures are okay. What Spurs, Forest, Brighton, Leicester, that's okay.
Decent. Yeah, good fixtures. Good fixtures. It's just he doesn't excite me as much as some of the other options available. I would go Cunha, then Mateta, then Wood, I guess. Purely because this just feels like a bad time to hop on Chris Wood with the next two fixtures. After that, though, 29 onwards, all in back on Chris Wood. I'm not selling, but can't really recommend anyone to buy him in good faith when he's about to play Arsenal and City, as bad as those two teams look like.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I'd have Mateta ahead of Cunha. I'm surprised you say Mateta. Like, the only reason I haven't bought Mateta, annoyingly, is because of 29. I'm really jealous of people who can get to him because look at those fixtures. Villa home, he should score. Ipswich home, he's scoring. Might score a hat trick. You free hit in 29, and then you get Southampton, Brighton, City, Newcastle. I mean, none of these are hard fixtures, and he has a double in 32, by the way, and he's in great form. Um, Mateta's slow start at the start of the season, I think, has a lot to do with the Olympics, and he didn't come back fully fit. He didn't have a preseason, but now he just looks. I thought he was immense against Fulham. Like he had a disallowed goal, which he took really well. His assist for Daniel Munoz was, I mean, that was one heck of a pass, right? A great finish by Munoz as well, but still amazing pass. I really like Mateta.
Yeah, I think there's not much to separate them. To me, Cunha and Mateta. I go for Cunha because he's just such a reliable asset and as a bonus point monster as well. Like literally every game he scores is getting three bonus points. Um so yeah, I would just put him slightly above. I think his fixtures are just as good. He's playing Fulham, Everton, Southampton, West Ham, Ipswich, Spurs, United, Leicester. That's his next few fixtures. And he is also informed just like Mateta. So I think very little to take between them. Price wise as well, Cunha is 6.9, Mateta is 7.4. So not that much difference. Yeah. I think it's just I have a personal preference for Cunha. That's why I put him ahead of Mateta. But both good options to have, I think.
Okay, fair. And since we're talking about people who, ignore free hitting in 29, we did have a question from Zane Abrams. Rashford? I mean, I'm still not there, but I mean, he looks great, but it's just that he's still not a nailed on starter, right? He's just been a good impact sub.
Yeah.
Marco
Not
Asensio,
until
though.
Asensio has looked good almost in every game that he's played since he came in. Rashford, yeah, he needs to nail down a pace before you can consider Rashford, I think. Although with a
Yeah.
performance like that, you would expect him to at least start the next game. It's just they do have pretty tough fixtures coming up, 2 away games against Palace and against Brentford. Not the easiest fixtures in the world.
Yeah, you can wait, I think.
Yeah, plus,
Although,
I think Villa seems to have a problem when it comes to short turnarounds. Whenever they have a midweek game, they tend to play badly, and schedule's pretty packed this for the next 2 game weeks
yeah, not to mention Champions League, right?
as
And
well.
they've
Yeah,
got a really good chance of progressing. So you'd imagine they want to rest some people for that because they play Club Rouge, and I expect them to, if they put their best team forward, they ought to win that. So yeah, probably not now. We also had a question about best budget defenders over the next few weeks. I mean, defenders all still suck, but of course, Daniel Munoz, Sam, you have Daniel Munoz, so
yeah, I do. He's not really budget though. It's 4.9. So Yeah.
I would think. I think under 5 is what I would say is a budget defender.
Okay. Well, he blanks 29, so depending
If
on
you're
your
free
free
hitting,
hit
yeah.
strategy, yeah, he looks good for the next 4 fixtures. It's finally coming good because I held him through like 3 or 4 weeks of blanks before he started returning. Munoz looks good. Bournemouth, although they have not been keeping a clean sheet the past few weeks, still have good fixtures and cheap players. Although I don't know how that red card will affect them next game. Other than that, I don't know. It's really tough to recommend a defender, I think.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anyone who screams out at me. If you need someone for
There are
29,
there are some shouts for Jet Spence, who is 4.4, so he's cheap. And he's returned the past 3 games. Spurs kept this kind of went under the radar. So they kept 2 clean sheets before the Ipswich game in which he scored a goal. So and in those 2 games with clean sheets, he had maximum bonus points. So interesting shout, I think, Jet Spence. However, Spurs fixtures don't look so good. They're about to play City, then Bournemouth, Fulham, Chelsea. But it's cheap. You asked for cheap, so
yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess you just sort of buy defenders and hope to get attacking returns at this point, right? Nobody keeps cleans anyway.
yeah, that's true. Would you consider Ait Nouri, familiar name from earlier in the season?
Came off with a knock, I think, in the most recent game. I know it's tough, right? We all had him at that one point, right? There was a lot of hype, and then he completely flopped. Wolves fixtures are okay. I mean, suppose in the circumstances, yeah, I know he's a fine pick, just because who else are you gonna get? Fulham, Everton, Southampton. These are okay fixtures. Don't expect cleans. Be happy with attacking returns if you get them. I think is how I would feel about it. If you need a body for 29, sure, buy Ainuri. If you don't need someone for 29, get Munoz. Easy.
Yeah, fair enough. But other than that, yeah, can't recommend any defender in good faith to you.
Whoever you have who's starting is probably good enough. That's what I would say. Okay, so I mean that's the player section. Let's skip ahead, right? Because we don't make this a long one. Let's talk captaincy. We did have FPL Hafiz who said it's interesting to see what Sam's captaincy pick will be this week. I'm so offended by that because I mean, does nobody want to care what? I mean, my boring captaincy picks. 20k rank, no respect for me, but it's okay. It's okay. Hafiz is having a great season, by the way. He's like third in our mini league. I think he's doing very well. So um,
I
even
would
ahead of
say,
me.
to give you some credit, Siva, you have good ideas. Most
Thank you.
weeks during the pod, you give good ideas. It's just when the game week finally rolls around, you tend to, take the safe option in the end.
Hey, safe options been paying off, man. I
Yeah,
just
I mean, it's clearly working for you, Siva. So I'm not judging your your method.
I live vicariously through you, Sam. So let me live vicariously through you again this week. Who's the crazy captaincy pick you got for me?
I don't know. Is Palmer even crazy?
So in a regular season, no, and earlier in this season, no. But now that Salah is 19 points away from the all-time FPL record with 11 games to go, so
Yeah.
he's having the best season that anybody has ever had in the history of this game. Um,
There's
it's
some
actually
there's
a
some
legitimate question.
there's some stats floating around on Salah's season, and it's something like if he just doesn't do anything for the rest of the season, just get his 2 appearance points every week, he will beat his best ever season. Right.
Yeah.
There's another stat I think floating around that if he decides if Liverpool sold him in the January transfer window, no one, he will still be the top highest player from then until now. And not only that, I think if they sold him in the January transfer window and the next highest player, which is Cole Palmer, continues his points per game average. It will take him until game week 37 or 36 before he catches up to Salah's current points. So it's a historic run, and I'm happy that we get to experience it. And the smart move would be just to continue captaining Salah.
So what's the Sam move?
I'm going to captain Palmer.
Because
It's a team playing at home against Southampton, which has been proven to be a winning strategy.
Bruno captainers against Southampton a few weeks ago will not agree.
Well, yeah,
But
United
for sure.
is probably the only exception to that rule, I think.
I'm pretty sure Haaland blanked against Southampton as well. But I take your point. And Palmer
Teams from
did have
Manchester.
some good chances against Villa. People from Manchester, yes. Yeah, I'm extremely boring. I'm probably captaining Salah again. I don't call it a rank thing. Call it whatever you want. I just don't feel like he returned at the Etihad, right? He gets 14 points at the Etihad. And I don't rate Newcastle much better than City. And I think at Anfield, right? Yeah, probably might just leave it on Salah until foreseeable notice. And also it's just because Chelsea's form is just so off-putting. I expect there to be some improvement this week. But I don't know, right? Maresca's kind of weird in midweek games, right? The previous time they played Southampton, he benched half the team. They got away with it. Don't know if he can afford to do that this time around, because I was listening to a few podcasts that suggested that Chelsea's drop in form is because start of the season they came in with all of Poch's ideas, but with a new guy in charge. So they sort of played Poch football, but with the new guy who was a bit more, new face. You're happy to see someone, new manager bounce. Now the Poch tactics have worn off. They're actually following Maresca's system, and his system sucks. And there is some evidence for this, because this happened to Leicester last season. For those people who follow Championship, right? Leicester started off really strong, basically were promoted by December, and then form fell off a cliff. And they just sort of held on till the end. Maresca's not been in management that long. He did a lot of coaching for Pep and all that. He's another one of those guys who carried cones for Pep and is now a big guy. And so I don't know. Like, maybe if Southampton, you said United could be upset by Ipswich. Would you be so surprised if Southampton do something at Stamford Bridge against a bunch of mercenaries on 8-year contracts, no motivation, probably not getting into Europe, probably getting a new manager into the season?
I don't know. It's a tough one, right? Like, United definitely worse than where Chelsea is right now, I think, as a squad, as a team, as an environment. However, you're right. I wouldn't entirely be surprised if, Chelsea end up losing. I'm going to take the risk, though. I think it's rare that you can call Cole Palmer a risk when he's playing against Southampton, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So,
Yeah.
despite the
And
fact that Salah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I saw a stat that says he has a higher chance of getting a double-digit haul. Like in this entire season, 56 of his returns in a game week has been double-digit hauls. So a higher chance that he has a double-digit haul than anything else, which is insane. But you got the stats up in the screen right now, the goal scorer chance, and Palmer's up top with 51%. How often can the highest goal scorer actually be considered a differential?
yep, that's true. And I mean, if it was a normal week, you expect Palmer to outscore Salah. So yeah, I'm with you in the sense that I can see why you're doing it. I just don't feel the motivation to go there, just because Salah's baseline seems to be, like you say, right, a double-digit return, and so I'm kind of okay with that. It just makes no sense. There's no one else, right? It's just these two guys, right?
Yep. I don't like this, I want Salah to fall off a cliff. In terms of form, not literally. I'm
Well,
getting flashbacks of seasons past, like that Suarez season where I kept captaining Sturridge because I just wanted to be different. It was not a good season for me.
You're going way back now, mate. That's like 10 years ago now. These kind of references are all going to be lost on people. But I will say, as long, I guess you'll be relieved if Palmer matches Salah, and anything above that, you'll be happy with, which is a fine pick. Like, you're not, like some people captain Trossard this week. Come on. Like, because this, and that's an over reliance, I think, on, no offense, modeling and stuff. Like, you like, let's be real, pick somebody you think is a talisman, is on pens, has all those safety mechanisms. And I think Cole Palmer has that. He's got set pieces, can score from nothing, doesn't need XG per se, just can whack it in from 25 yards. So I think Palmer's a sensible pick. And it's in the terms of, like you say, risks, right? This is not the biggest risk you're going to take. And
Yeah.
even if Salah hauls against Newcastle, you do not expect Salah to go crazy against Newcastle. Right. You hope.
Sure about that. But yeah, I mean, like you said, if Cole Palmer can just beat Salah by 1 point, I'll be happy. That's all I need. Even if matches like Mbeumo this week, I'll still be happy.
Moral
So,
victory. That's what you're going for.
moral victory, bragging rights. Just the ability to say that I was different and it did not hurt my rank this week.
I like it. I like it. I don't think there's much else to discuss, is there?
No, that's it. That's it. I think we've covered all the players of interest.
Yeah. We've spoken about chip strategy in previous pods, so we won't run that again this week. I will say, do you feel like you need to save transfers for 29? Because one thing, like, we're both just talking quite heavily about using a transfer in this short turnaround. And I see a lot of people saying you should just roll because 29, you need to keep focusing on 29. And I feel like I look at 29, it's very uninspiring, right? The only good fixtures in Game Week 29, you can look them up, are Wolves away at Southampton, Forest away at Ipswich. And apart from that, none of those fixtures inspire me. I feel like it's going to be one of those classic low scoring blank weeks where the top scorers might be some random dudes who nobody has. And so this focus on 29 is, you're overdoing it. It's just 1 week. Continue to get good players with good fixtures along the way instead of waiting so much. I think a lot of people didn't go Glasner this week because they were waiting for 29. I need to save one extra player. I need to have 11. And you don't need to have 11 for 29. You just need the 5 main guys. You need Chris Wood. You need Cunha. You don't need every single position to be filled.
I kind of agree, I think. And I'm not feeling it so much, and I think it's because I have very few Liverpool players. So that, in a way, saved me for 29. I only have Salah. In fact, I can go in 29 with my current team. No, -1. I think I just have 4 blanks in 29. So yeah, but I guess you're right, Siva. I think people tend to overplan for blanks. I am definitely guilty of that in the past, where I foregone players who were in good form but have a blank coming up, missed on all the points, just to build a team that that has 11 players and end up scoring like really low. Like, blank game weeks just generally tend to be a low scoring week. So we have all my planning, maybe I get 5 more than someone who didn't plan or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm guilty of it too. I didn't buy Mateta 3 weeks ago, right? And all the points he scored from then, and he's going to score until 29. It's gonna more than cover the -4 that you take to remove him in 29, even if you want to, because he's scoring every week. And long-term FPL players remember Theo Walcott, and there was this one season where people held him for like 10 weeks, and he blanked in the blank game week anyway. So yeah, I think we just people, it's one of those tunnel vision things you just got to avoid. But yeah, nothing else from me this week, Sam. Anything else from you?
No, I'm good.
Okay, so let's continue to keep getting green arrows, eh?
Yep. And we wish the same for all you listeners as well. Get your green arrows. We'll see you next game week.